Hi everyone, I'm Simon from Our Global Adventure. Today I wanted just to share with you a few ideas about travel adapters. If you're anything like us, you've probably got a heap of devices that you travel with, laptops and iPads and iPods and phones all seem to need to be charged every day. And everywhere you go is a different power outlet. So I thought I'd just share a bit of what we do and maybe you do the same. If not, hopefully it helps some people out. So firstly, I'll talk a bit about a couple of adapters that we've got. So first of all, we've got this travel adapter that we picked up in Australia. This one is a universal travel adapter that will take an Australian plug, allow you to plug that in anywhere in the world. So it does come apart quite well and give you, gives you lots of different options there. It's an American one. So it's pretty handy. It is expensive though. I'm not sure how much we paid for this, but it was because it was a gift that Gina got for me. I think she paid probably $30 or something like that for that. So it is expensive. If you had to plug in a lot of devices, that wouldn't be a good option. But it's good to have in your kit bag. One problem with this type of adapter is you can't plug an earth pin into it. So a power board won't work in this sort of adapter, which does make it restrictive as far as how many devices you can charge at one time, how many things you can plug into it. The alternative, of course, is to cut the earth pin off of the plug, but I wouldn't recommend that, as you're obviously abolishing the safety of that plug by taking that earth pin off of there. So that's a good option when you pick it up in the country that you come from, and allows you to plug in things all over the world. So option number one, pretty expensive. Option number two, we picked this up here in Ireland. This is a UK visitor adapter. Okay, so the visitor adapter is good in that it'll plug in a UK Ireland plug into a socket for the outlets here in Ireland, and it'll allow you to plug just about anything else into it. So you can see I can plug in that power board there. It's quite a neat fit, holds in pretty well, and that'll allow me to use my power board with 4 Australian devices plugged into to one outlet here in Ireland, or the UK, mainland UK as well. They're about €9 in Tesco, so they're a good cheaper option than the universal plug that you pick up at home. If you have a look around the cheaper shops, your Eurosaver and your stores of that nature, you can find them for usually a couple of euros as well, perhaps not quite as good a quality. But the one main trick I wanted to share with you today is changing the plug on this power board. I picked up this plug, which is just a standard UK plug from Tesco for under €2. And I actually did a little bit of research as to what I'm allowed to do here legally in Ireland. In Australia, you wouldn't be able to just chop a plug off and put that another plug back onto it without being an electrician. But here in Ireland, it's perfectly legal, and they actually give you the instructions on the plug, and they sell it at the supermarket at Tesco. So you're well and truly within your rights legally to change the plug on the end of this. So that's what I'm going to do. So it's a good little instruction here on there that comes with the plug. I'm going to slip that off. I'm going to use my Leatherman multi-tool just because obviously travellers, we want to travel with less stuff. I do have quite a few tools that I take, but just to demonstrate, you can do it pretty easily with just a few simple tools. So the first step is to get your Phillips head screwdriver in there and to open up the plug by taking the centre screw out. There we go. So we're inside. Now in the UK, because of the nature of their wiring, their plugs are actually fused. There's a 13 amp fuse in this plug. We don't have that in Australia. We don't have fuses inside of our plugs. It's because of the way that the circuits are created here in the homes in the UK. It's called a ring circuit. Okay, so now we're not working with anything alive because we're going to be working with this power board. There's obviously no electricity in here, but it's always important if you are going to try this at home that you are comfortable that you are working with an electrical item, and that it's important that it's isolated, etc. So the first step is we're going to remove this Australian plug. Okay, and to do that, I'm just going to get the pliers on there, and I'm going to cut that off. There we go. So that's gone. Alright, so we'll put that aside. Now, as I said, the plug comes with a neat little diagram that shows you how to wire it up, and it also gives you the lengths of each of the conductors that you need to have to make it simple to fit nicely inside the plug here. So we'll start. What we need to do is we need to strip the plastic insulation from outside of the cord here. Now, it's really tempting to grab your knife and to cut around the insulation here. But you're actually going to cut the insulation on the inside potentially and damage that. So what you want to do, if you can, is try and slice down the insulation on either side, and always cut away with from your hand with the knife. It's a good habit. Don't try and cut like this. You're going to cause yourself an injury. So once you've stripped a little bit of insulation away like that, what you want to try and do, now depending on the cord you have, this might be easy or difficult, is actually attempt, there we go, it's coming away nicely, to split it away like that. Because that will mean you don't damage those conductors, those insulation around the conductors on the inside. Okay, so we want to strip back about 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters. That's probably hips there. And then using the pliers, again, just trim off that insulation from either side. Alright, so now we've got 3 conductors in there, and we've got a brown, a blue, and a green and yellow. Now there's different standards around the world. We could have had red, black, and green. Basically, and if you refer to your little diagram here, it tells you anyway, but the brown is the active, the blue is the neutral, and the green and yellow is the earth. Okay, so now reading from here, it says we need to have 41 millimeters of earth, and we want to have 35 millimeters of neutral, and we want to have 15 millimeters of active, of live. Okay, so we can basically cut those off. I'm just going to estimate and probably make them a little bit longer than they need to be, but we'll strip them off. So effectively what we want to do is strip off that last 5 to 10 centimeters, 5 to 10 millimeters, sorry, of insulation around the end of each conductor. And we'll strip off the earth as it stands. Okay, so I've just used the pliers there just to strip that away. You can do that with a knife by running a knife around the end. You might also have some wire strippers to strip that off. If you have wire strippers, you're probably not watching this video, however you've already done the job. So we're going to twist up the end of those, like so, and we're going to fold them over back onto themselves. To give extra coverage in the terminal. Alright, so now we've prepared the end of the wire. Now all we need to do is wire it into this plug. Now on the plug, that's the earth pin just popping out there, there's these 2 screws here and this white plastic clip. This clip and screws is to retain this cord. Alright, so basically you can take that off or you can feed that up underneath it, either or. Okay, so there we go. We've got the cord now inside the plug. And what we're going to do is position each wire roughly into the area of where it needs to be joined into the terminal. So referring to the diagram once again, we can see that this pin here is the live pin, the active pin, the one that's attached to the fuse, and that needs to have the brown wire. This is the neutral, and that'll be the blue wire going over to this one, and this big one here, of course, is the earth. Okay, now the earth is the safety in the circuit. If you're learning to work with as an electrician or in any trade really, it's good practice to attach your safety mechanism first. So it's a good habit just to put that earth in first. because, you know, if there's no electricity in this circuit, there's no danger at all of electrocution, but it's a good practice just to get into, to be able to say, yeah, I've attached the safety circuit first. So we're going to undo that one, and we're going to put the earth maybe we're going to put the earth in. We've got the earth in, and we're going to do that in nice and tight. Okay. Next, I'm going to put that active in, just because it's going to be fiddly to get it in otherwise. Okay, using that, do that one up. Neutral. It's done off for some reason. Could have done with a longer conductor there. So now, pushing the wires into the centre of the plug, just so that it avoids any of the pinch points before we do it up. And also, it's now a good time to do up the two cables on the two screws on the outside to ensure that the cable gets pulled up tightly in there. So just these two screws here. So that will pull this clip down tight there to hold that clip in place. That screwdriver would have been handy. There we go. So we've added that plug now. So the earth, the live and the neutral. Just Just double checking that against our drawing, obviously. We've got the neutral, the blue coming in here. We've got the live coming into the fuse, brown, red, and we've got the earth going into this pin here as well. Then we can put the lid back on. So there we go. Alright, so I've added the plug. There it is. I've got the UK, British, Irish plug on my Australian power board. So that would mean I can plug that into the power point here in Ireland, and I've got 4 outlets that I can charge mine and all the kids' gear, keep the tablets and everything charged up. So we'll give it a test now. So I'm going to plug it in. There we go. So that's now plugged into 240. I've got the Australian adapter for my charger for my Samsung phone. So I'm going to plug that in there. No sparks so far, which is good. And we'll plug that into the phone. There we go. So that's charging. Alright, so all good. We've got 4 outlets. 4 outlets on the British plug. Thanks guys, and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to follow along our adventures on our blog, ourglobaladventure.net.au. Thanks very much.